I actually do a lot of research about the market, the industry, what my competition does, how it feels. I think it's really important for a founder, especially in the beginning, to do a lot of their own sales because you learn so much. That is the best way to get information of what's happening out there.
Welcome to the Expert in You podcast, the show where we have real conversations with established founders, firm owners, and B2B experts selling their expertise as services. We talk about what's happening now inside experienced businesses where positioning, influence, and growth directly affect opportunities and contracts. I'm Ann Carden. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Expert in You podcast. I'm your host, Ann Carden, and I'm coming to you from my lake condo. So if you are seeing the video on YouTube, you know that this is not my office. Hence all of the nautical stuff on the wall. But we've been at the lake for a couple of weeks, and I am going to interview the best guest today. I'm super excited to have her on. I have Natalia Zacharin on with me. She is the CEO and founder of Zacharin Accounting, and she has built an incredible business. We're going to talk all about it. She's going to let you see behind the curtains of her business. And I just welcome to the show, Natalia.
Thank you so much, Ann, for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you. I even said to you when we had kind of the pre-call about this show, I said, yeah, I want to wait until I'm in my office to, record with you. But then we didn't end up going back home. So here we are. But I have to tell you, Natalia, I am blown away at the company that you have built and your backstory. I came across her on LinkedIn, and when I saw her story and I saw everything she was doing, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting her on so we can dive into this. But she has just an incredible story as a single mom, making $7 an hour in her job, starts her company, and now she is award-winning, and she is on the Inc. 5000 with her company, and 2 years before that, regional. So wow, what a success story! And it hasn't been that long. What, 7 years?
Thank you. No, yes, it's been 7 years. This is her 7th year in business.
Oh my gosh! So she's basically building a CFO company. Would you say that's accurate? More of a CFO company?
Yes, it is more of a CFO company. That's what we lead with. But you can't do CFO work without being able to get really good financials. So we do a lot of bookkeeping, and that really allows us to start working with someone from the very early stages of their business all the way up as they grow. So we do bookkeeping, payroll, and then fractional CFO work.
Yeah, it's so interesting. When she and I first started talking, I said, "You're so energetic and bubbly, and not." I love CPAs and accountants, but they're not. They're introverts a lot, and they're very quiet. And so that was one of the things that just really resonated with me was your energy and just that charisma that you have. And you're out there. Don't you have a podcast too, Natalia? Or are you just on them a lot?
I'm on them a lot. I have a podcast agency that gets me on a lot of podcasts. And recently now I have people reaching out and finding me.
She's positioned really well. FYI, when you're positioned really well, you get those opportunities coming right to you, which is exactly what happened. I saw her. I'm like, okay, girl, I have to get you on. So, so Natalia, let's just take a step back and talk about at the very beginning when you started your business. You started a remote accounting practice. Had you gone to school to be an accountant or a CPA? Like, give us that backstory.
So not at all. I have some sales experience, but not the type of sales experience that I needed for this position. I worked for Reynolds Wrap Aluminum Foil Company a very long time ago, which was an existing territory. It was just basically to keep relationships going. Then I was a stay-at-home mom. As you had mentioned, when I went back into the workforce in 2012, I started at $7.10 an hour because I couldn't find another job. And I was looking and looking and looking. I ended up a couple of years in, I think in 2013, maybe, I worked for a corporation as their invoicing clerk. So that was my first introduction into the financial world. But an invoicing clerk is very different than a bookkeeper or even a CFO. I was just I learned there not what a CFO does or even what a bookkeeper does, but I learned that I can figure out software really easily because we had Microsoft Dynamics and then we switched to NetSuite. And being new, I was still one of the new girls, and I would show everybody how to do everything because I figured it out really quickly. So apparently I'm pretty good with software, and I never knew that. So that was an interesting time for me. And when I started this business, it was because my corporate job had made a lot of shifts and changes in their management. They acquired several companies, and they started to demote me and get rid of my position. And I'd been there for 6 years. I was heartbroken because I felt like I worked really hard. I really cared about what I did. And I saw the writing on the wall, was trying to get another job, and I couldn't. And so the reason why this company became what it is, how it started, was I was sitting in a cafe with my then boyfriend, who is my fiance now, and telling him I'm looking everywhere. I can't even get an interview. And he said, "Why don't you start your own business?" And that was like the very first time anybody said anything like that to me. And I was like, what? What would I do?
Let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
Let's get on the Inc. 5000.
Yeah. He said, accounting. He was a tax accountant. He's a CPA. Okay. And he said, well, you could do accounting. And I was like, I thought about it, and I was like, I was an engineering major and I loved math. Maybe I can figure it out. It's not math. It's completely different. But I was like, maybe I could figure it out. And so he sent me this program, which is not in existence now. I wish I could get my hands on it because it's actually really good. He sent me this program for free on how to set up your accounting firm. It was like an 8-week program. And it just told you like, who is your client? Where would you find them? I had no idea the answers to any of these questions. So I just kept going through the program. I would feel like I got stuck and be like, well, I'll figure it out later, and keep going. And then when it got to the point where you reach out on LinkedIn to a bunch of people and see if they're interested in your services, in January 2019, I reached out and someone messaged me back and said they needed my help. And that's how it started. And I didn't even know how to do bookkeeping.
Gosh, yeah, figure it out when I bring them on, right?
Yes.
And what an amazing story. So you have, though, okay, this is not just a story of she started a business and it's done okay. This is a story of you've built a firm. You've built a firm, and you've done that since 2019. So what is that, 7 years? Yeah. You've done it in 7 years. Most people never do what you've accomplished in a lifetime. So first of all, just a huge congratulations to you. Yeah. It's clear that you're such a go-getter. But how did you learn how to build a firm? That's a very different play from just getting some bookkeeping clients and yes. selling some services, right?
Yes, and I started out, and this happened in phases. It didn't happen all at once where I was like, I want to build this big firm. In fact, I just wanted to make ends meet. I started doing bookkeeping on the side as a side gig, just to make some extra cash because I thought I would stay with my company. They had demoted me down to like 40,000, which was poverty levels for the state of Maryland. So I needed to make more money. And what I realized through the process was, it came in stages. So my first stage was, I just want to make enough money to replace my job because it's getting too hard to do both. And that took a long time. That was the hardest. I would say that was the hardest phase, because figuring out how to do sales and outreach and get people to trust you. And in 2019, people didn't do things remotely yet. I don't even think Zoom was available.
It changed a lot with COVID. A lot of changed with COVID. I was remote, but it was a little bit of a pull with business owners. Yeah.
Yes, it was calling them, calling someone across the country and starting to ask them questions and being shocked that they were so openly answering my questions when they had no idea who I was. And it took me a long time to get, I think I had 4 clients it took me 8 months just to get 4 clients. That's how long. And I was doing outreach and working on it every single day. This was going to work full time, commuting, doing calls during my lunch hour, calling on my commute, or learning, doing a lot of learning, listening to YouTubes and podcasts. And I don't even think podcasts were a thing back then, but just learning, listening to books while I was driving. Taking calls, pulling over on the side of the road to take a call, and then working and training myself and learning after my daughter would go to bed. So in those days, I probably worked 18-hour days very, very regularly, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Because I really needed to change my situation.
I love that you're saying that, because a lot of people don't realize what it's going to take to start a business and really get traction. And so they quit or they give up before they actually do that. But yeah, I can think about that first business I had, and I was up at 3 a.m. doing my business, and everybody else was sleeping. So yeah. It's making it work. But
making it work, I had to figure out how to do lead generation, sales, and then do the work. That wasn't a skill I already had. So I had to figure out how to actually do the work also. So it was really hard. There were so many times where I didn't believe in myself, or I wanted to quit. And I was like, talk about imposter syndrome. I was an imposter.
Well, it's people think it's going to be easier, right? And so then when it's not, they're disappointed, and then they start self-doubting.
Yes.
I remember when I first came into doing what I do now, and I was working with really a lot of the wrong clients. They weren't ready for me. They weren't in a place where they were ready for me. And so I knew what I could help them do, but they weren't ready for that. And so I had to kind of learn that the hard way. But what it did was give me self-doubt, like, maybe I'm not very good at this. And so, all those feelings come up, and then I would think, no, you've built and sold 5 previous businesses, and you know what you're doing, right?
Yes.
And so then you have to look at all those things, and all of that is part of the game.
Yes, it is. And all of that's very learnable. What's interesting is that I read this as a definition of imposter syndrome. You feel like you're an imposter because you are trying to be someone and growing into someone that you're not yet that person. And so I was growing and learning, and I wasn't yet that person. And the imposter syndrome still, it does creep up, but really, really rarely at this point. But it was a lot. So it took me 8 months to get 4 clients. At that point, it was too hard to do both, to be a mom, to work full time, and I also did negotiate with my job that I could work from home, which gave me a lot more freedom, and did allow me to at least try to engage on LinkedIn and do a little bit more. And in August, the month I turned 50. I turned 50 in 2019. I quit my job. I walked in and quit my job because I decided I need to be all in. It's either one or the other. I can't do both. And I don't really have a future in the job. I've proven to myself that I can get 4 clients. If I can just get a couple more, I'd be okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then
it's such a good way to think about it too. So many people quit, and it's like, what? You could turn this around tomorrow. Like literally, you get a client or you get 2 clients, you could turn this around immediately. So you went this way. So smart.
Yes. And I kind of thought that, and then I regretted my decision a little bit.
Oh,
of course, because I quit when I only was making $2,000 a month. So it wasn't even enough to cover, my mortgage payment, which was lower than getting an apartment, because I was living in a home that I'd been in for 20 years. And so I didn't close a single client between August and November. Again, using a tremendous amount of time and energy, reaching out to people, networking, going places, LinkedIn outreach, everything that you could possibly think of, especially that was free. It was just my time. I really focused about 80% of my effort on getting new clients. And of course, I still have to do the delivery for the existing clients. And suddenly in November, I closed 4 more clients. And now I was making, I think, enough money to, by the end of 2019, I was making as much money as I was making before, which was like about 80 or 100,000 or something like that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I
Yeah,
love
actually it was like beginning of 2020, to be honest. So in 2020, I called my mom and said, Mom, you don't have to help me anymore, because I hated that she was helping me.
And she went, yes, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I think it was like February. I called her, said, I'm making as much money as I was in my job before my demotion. I'm okay now. You don't have to send me any more money. And as soon as I said that, would you know it, COVID hits. And I watched all of my clients' revenues just tank. And
Oh,
so, and this is the whole thing about business, and that I want people to understand. It fluctuates constantly. It's never a straight line up. It is up, down, up, down, up, down. What you hope is eventually you see the trajectory is going in the right direction, but it's going to tank sometimes even lower than you were before.
yeah.
And that's normal.
Yeah, it is important for people to understand that there are definitely ups and downs in business. The goal is to get it up enough that if it goes down, it's not going to hurt you like
Yes,
that. And so then you can ride it out, right? And then also to be smart with your money. So you've got money put aside and things for those economic changes or whatever happens. It could even be a market shift. We're seeing it right now with AI. It's shifting a lot of things in the market. And so, a lot of people are struggling with, okay, how do I keep doing what I'm doing with AI? And so if you haven't been through it before, or you haven't struggled with that, it's coming at some point.
yes,
Because, doing this for being in business 40 years, I've seen it all. I've seen it.
yes. I bet. And it doesn't stop. It does get to a point where you're like, okay, I probably still have a business, even if I lose like half of my clients. Now, AI could technically take us out, possibly, for bookkeeping. That's why we do a lot of other services also. But I really believe it's just going to enhance what we do, and we'll be able to do more, bring more value with fewer people.
Yeah,
Is what I'm
absolutely.
thinking.
And you do have some different revenue streams. I know we talked about this when you and I first got on a call, and you've built some partnerships where you're a resource for clients for other systems and software and things like that, but then you get a revenue share of that. Is that right? Is that
I don't
accurate?
get a revenue share, but I do have partners that are looking for our services. So we work with a lot of tax firms that don't want to do what
Okay.
we do. They don't do any bookkeeping or payroll, so they'll send us clients because they can't do their job without that. We send clients to other partners. We have other partners that are in the financial world, like maybe they'll set up the 401k, or we're a big partner with Gusto Payroll. So they don't send us clients, but they'll send us referral fees when we set up new clients.
There you
So
go. Yeah.
that's nice. So that's a nice little extra revenue stream. It's like I'm not going to get rich on it, and it goes right back into the business anyway. So yeah, I don't even
But
notice
still, those things are important to have different
they
revenue,
are.
different ways that you're making money, even if they're small. Those
Mhm.
are all great ways to build into a business, and a lot of people don't think like that. Like, to me, it's really thinking outside the box
Mhm.
when you're building. I always say you start with your core and then you build out from there. And what
Yeah.
services complement you? Not only do you become more valuable and more of a resource with your clients, because now you have all these other things that you can bring those needs right to them, but you can also build in fees and things like that where you're getting paid when those
Mhm.
services sell. So I
Yes.
way to
Yes.
build.
The whole process, it keeps developing. It's still developing now, but it's really the goal is always to bring the most value and be the absolute best at what we do. I'm in an industry, and I hear this a lot from clients and other people. Well, I have so much competition. I'm in an industry that there's literally,
Against
yeah,
competition.
yes,
Into that.
it is anyone with a computer says they do what we do anywhere in the world. And
Right.
but I don't feel like I compete with them
You
because,
don't, because of the
yeah,
way you do things.
yes. And what we do is I actually do a lot of research about the market, the industry, what my competition does, how it feels. I think it's really important for a founder, especially in the beginning, to do a lot of their own sales because you learn so much. That is the best way to get information of what's happening out there. And
Yes.
yeah, I'm still a little bit in sales, but I pretty much now I have a sales team now, which took a long time to develop. But it really gave me a lot of information, and that's how a lot of my other services started happening is because I kept listening to the client. I kept
Yeah.
listening or to the prospect of what they needed. And so I could see that there was a demand for certain things. And
Yeah.
so in 2021, we started fractional CFO services. And the reason we did was because, first of all, I realized I was giving a lot of information away for free, which we all do. I needed to stop that.
People fix those things. Yes. Yeah. Because a lot of people do that. Yeah.
Yes. So, and I was aware that I was giving a lot more value than what people are paying for. And then I realized also that the common question always was, well, okay, fine. Now I have accurate financials, but I don't know what to do with them. I don't know how to change my situation. I don't know how to improve things. And so again, I jumped in. I started learning a lot. There are so many great books. There's no excuse these days, but between the internet and all the books out there and podcasts that you can learn so much. So now I had a new learning curve, figuring out how to create forecasts and budgets, projections and graphs, and then explain those things and how to improve someone's situation. And apparently, that's my love.
One thing you talked about, Natalia, is doing your own sales. And I think that's super important because you do learn so much when you're doing that, but also you cannot turn over to a sales team what you haven't proven yourself. And that's, a lot of people try to do that, but if you don't really know what is driving your customer and you don't know the language and you don't really have that experience of the sales process, I think it's really hard to create an SOP to turn that over to a sales team or somebody that doesn't know your business, or even to train someone on your staff to be able to that part over. Do you agree with that?
I completely agree. And with marketing and even ads, everything, you have to know the language, you have to know the pain points, you have to understand what the client or customer wants to hear, what engages them, what they need, what the market demand is. And you have to do that as the owner. And there's really not any other way around it.
I don't think there's shortcuts. People are always trying to throw money at shortcuts, but there aren't. One other thing I wanted to say is, you said, oh, there's so many books and podcasts and blah, blah, blah. Boy, for years when I was building my business, I just didn't have access to any of that stuff. I took the horse and buggy to success because I had to figure it all out. And I had, I bootstrapped and I had to just really figure it all out. And I was a hard worker enough. My work ethic and my innovation and creativity, it always helped me, do well. But gosh, when I think about you coming into the market in 2019, and I know you came in a little bit before that, but starting your own business, boy, did you come in at such a great time. I mean, I just envy when people can't make a business work in the marketplace today. I'm like, I don't even know how you can't do that, because you're just, you can't be working it because there's more available. I never had any of the stuff available that we have now.
I tell people all the time, it's the best time to be alive right now. You
really
can say what you want, but also I think that's an attitude and mindset. If you think it's the best time, it will be the best time to be alive. But there's so much opportunity. There's so much information. People are just giving away free information. I did join a mastermind because I wanted the accountability. And I really wanted to learn how to build a firm. So in 2020, I already had one employee. I hired one employee at the end of 2020. And in 2021, I got the opportunity to join a mastermind specifically for accounting firms. And I'm a really big believer in mentors and coaches and masterminds and like all the things, because that's what we do. We're basically a kind of a coach. We're a financial coach, but I have coaches everywhere. Because that is the fastest way to get from point A to point B.
That's how you did it in 7 years, where most people, like I said, they don't even make it a lifetime. They don't even accomplish that in a lifetime.
Yes. And so I joined this mastermind, and then I said, I want the executive level. And I chose the executive level for two reasons. One was ego. Why would I want to be in the lower level? And the other was I wanted to I did not want to have an excuse that I wouldn't grow and develop. And so the lower level was like 20,000 for the year. The executive level was 50,000. And I just finished a year where I only made 100,000 in gross revenue. And I was on track to make 300 that next year. So this was a huge chunk of my money. that I bet on myself, that I'm just going to have to figure it out and make it work. And I was the second smallest firm that was in that group. And I left last year because I was one of the largest firms.
Okay, so I want to hit on something you just said, because this is it's such a gold nugget. I bet on myself. I invested even when it wasn't comfortable, even when I didn't really have it. And I bet on myself. And that is gold, because so many people, they make decisions based on where they are, not on where they want to go. And that is the biggest mistake you will ever make in business. My businesses never would have expanded if I would have just said, I don't really think I can do that right now. What do I need to do to make that happen is a very different mindset. And even if that was uncomfortable, I mean, during the recession, we put everything on the line, our home, property, everything, to open 2 more businesses when everybody else was shutting down. And that was the scariest thing ever. We could have lost everything that my husband and I had built up and worked for. Still did it. It paid off, because you know what? I said, with God's help, this will not fail. It will not fail. I will figure it out. And I didn't have a mentor. So I can imagine if I would have had that back then. I love that you said that. What a great mindset. It shows exactly why you've accomplished what you've accomplished. And
I knew that if I went into the higher level, I'd do the work. I would execute.
That's the other thing. Yes.
Because it was expensive.
You get the results because you have a different attitude. That's it. I help people get high paying clients, right? So that's the one thing they always say, oh my gosh, I can't believe how wonderful these clients are to work with. Yeah, because they're committed, because they're paying enough, and they're invested in their success. I can remember some of my first coaching clients 15 years ago. It was like, I wanted their success more than they did. That doesn't go real well.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. So,
yes. I see that now with CFO clients also. They keep meeting every single month and nothing changes. They don't take the guidance at all, and they just they have an excuse every time. And that just doesn't work. And everybody can have an excuse. Someone is going to be thinking in their mind, well, she has some kind of advantage. And that's not true. None of us have an advantage.
That's why I had you on here. You did not.
Yes. I know people still think that, because I had a boyfriend who had a tax firm. But first of all, I wanted to have a good relationship. I didn't want to make our relationship weird because I was asking him a million questions. He was literally a boyfriend. He was not like my husband or my partner. He was trying to figure out his own thing. He had his own bookkeeper. He didn't hire me to do any of the work. So that relationship was still so new that I wasn't even sure we were going to stay together. And I didn't want to damage the relationship by being whiny and talking about it too much and asking too many questions.
But I want to talk about that, because you say, well, people thought that was an advantage. Look, there are free courses out there. Like you said, there are podcasts, there are books, there's so much free stuff out there now. It's craziness, right? In fact, I think it's information overload. Now you don't even know, what to do. But here's most people put out things that do work. But what doesn't work is the person behind doing the work a lot of times. And so I've invested just a fortune into learning everything that I've learned in building this business. And I'm still always investing in different things. And it all has some value. And sometimes being creative and taking something from here and something from here and something from here, and all of a sudden you have something very powerful. It's thinking like that. It's thinking outside the box. So many people think if they make an investment, it's up to you. It's up to you to make sure that that I get the results, when in reality, everything's up to us. If we're leading our business, it all comes back to us, good or bad. I made some decisions that didn't turn out to be great, but did I get value from those? I absolutely did. And that's the way you have to think. And that's the way you have to look at things.
Yes. everything is a learning opportunity. I still take risks. I make decisions. I want to keep moving us forward. So that means I can't stay still. I have to take risks. And I took some big risks last year. They didn't pan out the way I anticipated. And I was sweating bullets for a little while. Like you said, you put everything on the line and, put everything up, and you didn't know if it was going to transpire. You could have lost everything. I felt like I could have lost everything. I would have been like taking money out of my 401k to keep my business afloat last year because I made calculated risks that panned out, but it took a lot longer. So you have to have a really strong stomach. For a lot of that stuff.
Talk about that for a second, because this is a really key thing too. When you're in your own business, okay, it's not the same if you know how to make money, because you said I took money out of my 401k. I'm sure that in the back of your mind, you thought I'll replace it because this is going to help me keep going.
I actually didn't take it. I thought about it.
Didn't end up taking it. Okay. But even if you had, when you are in business for yourself, and somebody's not handing you a paycheck and you know that's all you're going to get. Like there's an employee mentality and there's a business owner mentality, right? And when you are in business and you are the driver, you just don't think about it. You don't think about it the same way if you have the right mindset. You realize this too shall pass.
Yes.
I'll make more money. I made that. I'll make more. Like it's a whole different attitude that you have.
Absolutely. And I figured I just jumped right back into sales because as an owner, you sell differently. So what happened was in 2024, I decided that I built the business a lot on referral partners, networking, reaching out, and so on. And I decided, this is not very sellable or predictable. And I need to now create a process for lead generation and sales that is outside of me. And as the owner, I'm constantly thinking about buying back my time. There are a lot of books on that, a lot of information, but I'm constantly thinking about how does someone else take ownership of one of the things that I'm doing so I can keep building and innovating and moving the business forward and have the bandwidth to do so. And so getting out of sales is a big one. I decided in late 2024, I engaged an agency, a marketing agency that I had worked with before and had turned on ads for me before. And it worked. And I was the only salesperson. So I stopped the ads and thought, okay, I need to hire a salesperson and then turn on ads. So I hired a salesperson. This is the wrong, but by the way, this was wrong. You first need to make sure you have leads before you get a salesperson.
Right.
So
absolutely.
I assumed I was going to have leads because it worked a year before. Well, everything changed with Meta, and I hire the agency, I hire a salesperson, and we get no leads. And we get no leads for 6 months, nothing. And I'm spending money on ads. I'm spending money with the agency. I can't tell if my salesperson is any good because I don't have enough leads for him. I'm paying him a base salary. I'm sending him some of my referrals. I'm trying to figure this out. I went through a second agency. So 9 months in, I finally go to a third agency, and I should have made this transition faster. But again, everything is a learning opportunity. Now I know a lot more. So I went to a third agency. We recorded new content. He put out the ad on Friday. By Sunday, I was getting booked leads. That's how fast, if it works, that it should work. Not months. If it's taking months, it means it's not working. There's something's wrong. And maybe it's you not explaining things, or maybe it's the agency not understanding your business. It could be a combination.
Yeah, sometimes we don't have deep knowledge of strategy, things like that. Okay, I want to dive into that because I love to give people peek behind the curtains, some insight. What kind of an ad are you putting out there that was getting leads for your firm?
So I put out the same ads to attract CFO clients with very similar language, but I don't even think it was my recording or even the script. I think that things had changed with Meta, and the other agency had been around a long time, and then the second agency had been around a long time. I don't think that they pivoted with the new changes that Meta had put into place. And then the new agency, he was actually my stepson. He's so new to the marketing and advertising world, and he is in a mastermind now and really, really learning that he knew all of the new things to do and all the new tweaks to do. And so, he already had he would look at my ads from the other agencies and he told me, I think I know how to tweak this and fix it, but he couldn't fix their ad because he didn't have access or the comfort level. So it was really a matter of finding someone not only that understood my industry, and he had worked in my industry before, but understood how to write the scripts, how to get it edited so that it's attractive, and then how to do all the landing pages and everything that was attractive for the prospect. And it just started.
Who were you going after it with those ads? Who were the ideal?
So interestingly enough, I don't have a niche, and everybody keeps telling me niche down, niche down, niche down. And I keep thinking if I niche down, it could be really easy. We'd be like an assembly line, right? We could hire all the same type of people and everything would be easy and all the same deliverables. But we built the business on referrals at first. So we have everybody in every industry you could possibly imagine. And I think that's what made us so good. And so I don't really want to let it go. And so right now the ad is for any business owner, and it doesn't talk about a specific industry. It doesn't talk about a specific, even a specific range of revenue. What it talks about is the actual problem. And people resonate with that. It talks about, and so at this point now, I am 6 years into the business. I really, really know over and over again what people are telling me. And what people tell me, what I hear is, I don't understand why my profit is showing I made $500,000, but only have 50,000 in the bank. What happened to my cash?
Yeah.
Or they say, I don't understand. I have so much business coming in. I have so much revenue coming in, and I can't make payroll.
Yeah, it happens I've worked with a lot of multi-million-dollar businesses advising, and the owner was making $25,000 a year, and we'd have to turn it around. Yeah, revenue top line is not the same as
yes.
line. Yes. You have to know
and
that.
I've already been doing this for a while, and I already know just by asking a few questions what's wrong.
Yeah.
And how to fix it. And still, it doesn't always get fixed right away because people are reluctant sometimes to make the changes that they should or fast enough. But a lot of times, as your top line grows, your expenses grow, and no one's watching, and they grow exponentially. And sometimes they exceed revenue, and I've seen that happen many times too.
Yeah, if you're not doing things in a different way to make sure that's not happening, that it should offset. One of the things I help people do is work higher, go up market, bigger profits, bigger everything, bigger clients, all of that. But you still have to structure things in the right way so that they're profitable. And a lot of people, they just don't know all of that, and that's why experts exist.
Yes. One thing that really helps, what I did is I knew that I had to have a very high profitability before I hired. My profitability was 60 to 80%. When I hired, it was 40 to 50% with my salary. So now as we scale, because when you scale, it's expensive to get everything working and it takes time. So now I have sales and marketing and this and that and the other thing and all these things. So now my profit dipped to 25%, but I'm still profitable.
And that's after you're getting paid.
And that's after I'm getting paid. And once now that's starting to work, so now I'm anticipating profitability to go back up. And that's how you kind of do it. You have to have more profit than you think you do because you have a lot of things to put into place.
Yeah. And you have to realize too, that when you're, this is another mistake people make. They're not focused on the profits. And so then they have no money for growth. And so you have to build growth into, and you also have to have the expectation that once you scale or once you're putting more money into this to keep multiplying what you've got and keep growing what you have, you are going to sometimes see a downturn in your business or in your profitability as a result of that. Even sometimes shifting up market, you're cutting away all those very low value clients, and people might see a dip in that, and it just freaks them out. But then they get one client, and they've made up for all those 10 that they were crying over. So you have to just understand these things. It's just part of business. It's part of building. But I think you brought that up. So when you were running paid ads, are you driving people to a call? What kind of like a strategic call to show them why they're
there's a lot of video content they can read, they can or listen to, I guess, or watch. There's a lot of video content about what to expect. I'm trying to answer the questions before they happen. So I'm trying to answer like, how do you price this out? What kind of industries do you work in? Is it too late? Am I too far gone? Can you really help me? What does it look like? What does the first couple of months look like working with you? So we created videos to answer all of those questions. So it's basically an FAQ section with video content because people don't really like to read as much as they like to see. And so if they want to, they can look at all those FAQs and then they can book a call. And the call goes into our Calendly, I think is what we use. And then it goes to the salespeople there. And they actually take the call now. And that took a lot of time. I've gone through 7 salespeople. I have one that finally just, salespeople are a different breed of hiring completely. You can't tell if they're going to be good at your type of sales and selling accounting.
I was going to say they would have to be somewhat familiar with your
yes
type of business to be able to sell it.
They have to do a diagnostics to a certain degree, so they have to understand what the situation is to quote properly. So it's a lot of training.
Yeah, how are they quoting that service, or are you just selling something? Maybe just almost like a package, and then from there you guys upsell them when you get the client.
They go through an entire diagnostic. It takes a couple of weeks for them to train. And then we can kind of tell by personality and how many questions they ask, how hard they're trying, what they, if they really want it, they're going to ask a ton of questions and they're going to be in, even if they're not closing yet. And so I had one that I thought she was going to be great. And I thought a woman selling for me, because we're a woman-owned business, would be great because it's a very male-dominated industry. And I really wanted a woman to work out. And she almost quit. She messaged me on a Saturday morning and said, I don't know, I'm kind of waiting. Like, when are you guys going to fire me? I'm not really closing. So I jump on a call with her. And this is what it is to be a business owner. I'm constantly putting out fires. That's all I do right now is putting out fires with employees, with clients. I'm having the hardest conversations and protecting the rest of my team and trying to build and have everybody that's bought in to our mission and our vision and our values. So I jumped on a call with her on Saturday and I said, look, you are so close. Like, I know you're going to it's going to be maybe a week or 2 or less, and it's just going to break free and you are going to start closing and you're going to love this. And what I'll also do is, talk to this person and that person. I'll do this and I'll tweak that. So we had a plan. And literally that week, within 3 days after that conversation, she started closing on a very regular basis. And now she closes 20%, which is where we want her to be.
So are you paying your salespeople salary plus commission? Is that how you're doing it?
It is a low base. I don't believe in high bases. I have seen, because I've been in sales. I saw in my last company that they had a lot of salespeople that just didn't work. They would just come in, they were like order takers. They had the existing commission and a huge base, and they just didn't really put a lot of effort in. And so how we structured it was a low base that it's not a terrible base the first 30 or 60 days, and then it goes down. But they get a commission, they get a larger commission on the first month because it's usually when we're doing a cleanup or a project. So it's a bigger piece of cash, right? A bigger amount of cash. And then they get a residual for 11 months. And then it ends. They have to keep selling, but that residual really helps them to start, it starts growing. But they have to keep selling every single month because in 11 months, they'll be out of cash again.
So good. Oh my gosh, we could talk forever, Natalia. This has been such a fun conversation. And I love that you've just shown, how you're doing things inside your business, and for people out there building all these ideas you can use and utilize inside of your own company and your own business too. And look, there's no one size fits all. You can structure things the way you want, the way it fits your business. But she did also say something, I just want to bring this up again before we wrap up. And she said, don't hire a salesperson unless you have leads. In the old days, salespeople had to prospect. They don't do that anymore.
Yeah. That's a different person. That's a business development person.
People. Marketing is one and sales is another. I can't even imagine. I always I always had to do the prospecting and all of that. So it's a different world that we're in.
Yes.
But, okay, so let's wrap up. This has been such a great conversation. What would you like to leave everyone with? And then, by the way, we'll put all of her information and everything in the show notes. And so she's got loads of ways you can reach her. But what would you like?
We have a lot of free resources also on the website. Yes, the main thing is to really understand your numbers, to have good bookkeeping and understand them. That is so important. That is the basis of all of your decisions. That's the language of your business. It truly, truly is. So that's extremely important. Make sure you hire someone. Don't do it yourself. Like I know how to clean my house, but in the time that it takes me to do that, it doesn't make sense. And someone else can do it much better. Same thing with bookkeeping, hire out a professional. It's a very important service, and very important for you to understand how to read your numbers so you can see how you're doing and what your profitability looks like, and you can make decisions. That's one thing. The other thing is read a lot, learn, get a coach, mentors, like everywhere as you grow, just keep adding more and more help. I have a personal trainer, and I've got a health coach, and in my personal life, I have someone that cleans the house. I have someone now that folds my laundry, not because I can't do it, not because I'm lazy, because I want it to be clean and neat and organized, and I can't really get to it all the time, so it just sits there. But is that a really good use of my time? At this point, like when you're an entrepreneur, you have to think about, do what moves the needle and has the most impact, or what brings you joy. Absolutely. And then everything else is for someone else.
So well said. So well said. That's a great note to leave on. I can't thank you enough for being here, being so open and sharing. She's going for 8 figures. She will get there. There's absolutely no doubt. Super excited for you, and it's going to be fun to watch your company continue to grow, and just kudos to you. So thanks for being here, Natalia.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, everyone. I want to thank you for joining us for another episode. Make sure you subscribe to the show, and make sure you share it with someone that needs to hear it, and get these insights from these amazing entrepreneurs and experts that I have on my show. And look, if you have been in your business for a long time and you have not yet elevated and gone up market, you are not getting the best clients, you're not getting the highest prices, you are still not seen the way you deserve to be seen for your expertise, then let's have a conversation around how to make that happen. You should be getting everything that you have worked so hard for, and yet you might be settling and competing for business in the low end of the market. So let's fix that for you. You can book a call at ancarden.com. And until next time, go rock your business. God bless you. Bye-bye.
The content of this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. Although I share strategies, ideas, and success stories based on real experiences, results are never guaranteed. Every business is unique, and outcomes depend on individual effort, market conditions, and many other factors. By listening, you agree that I and my guests are not responsible for your results or actions based on the content shared. Thank you for tuning in today. If you're as excited as I am about scaling up your influence, business, and bank account, then I have just the thing for you. But first, make sure you subscribe to the show. Second, make sure you share it with someone you care about, because sharing is caring. And third, head on over to join me in my next free virtual exclusive workshop, where we'll explore proven strategies to boost your business and maximize your potential. Look, it doesn't matter if you're just starting out or if you're looking to take your business to the next level, my workshops are designed for you. So head on over to expertinyouworkshop.com to reserve your spot and get ready to transform your expertise into extraordinary success. I'm looking forward to seeing you there and helping you achieve incredible growth. Until next time, make sure you're always seeking the expert in you, and God bless. Have an amazing day.